In this video for Hatshepsut, we'll be having a look at her trading expedition to the land of Punt, which is one of the most significant aspects of her reign. So a couple key terms that we need to get out of the way first. The term that we use to describe trade is expedition. So when we hear the term expedition, that implies that there's trade going on. So that's how we refer to Punt. It's an expedition to Punt. The other term we often use is campaign, and that relates specifically to the military. This is very much a trading expedition, so we have to call it an expedition. We don't call it a campaign. The military went, but they weren't there to fight. It was a peaceful trade where the Egyptians took goods down and received goods in turn, and it was mutually beneficial for the Puntites as well as the Egyptians themselves. So we must use that term expedition in referring to Punt and other trading initiatives undertaken by Hatshepsut. So where do we get the source from? And we have a lot of sources for Punt, which is why we know it was such an important part of Hatshepsut's reign. She used a whole heap of the middle colonnade at Deir el-Bahari, her mortuary temple, to put up some quite significant reliefs, and we can see an example of it here. And they told the whole story of the Amun, an oracle of Amun, initiating the expedition through to the expedition leaving, the meeting, the Punt's king and his obese wife, bringing back the goods on the boats, coming back to Egypt and unloading the goods and tallying up what they brought back and all of those sorts of things. So the fact that she used so much of this colonnade at Deir el-Bahari to record this expedition would highlight how significant it was for her reign. And really, they had not been down there, the Egyptians had not been to Punt since Middle Kingdom times, so it had been a long time, so she reopened this trading route and continued it after that as well. So where is Punt located? We think it's located in modern-day Somalia. That's according to Shaw, so we can see where that is there on this map, this highlighted part down there on the middle right-hand side. And we can see it is quite a fair way from where where Thebes is, which is right up where that the word Egypt is printed there on the map. So quite a long way away and quite a significant expedition. The main purpose of the expedition was really to bring back incense, which was used in ritual practices for purifying purposes for Amun. So it was to bring it back for the temple of Amun. And we can see here an incense tree. This is actually a myrrh tree. So the whole point was to bring back myrrh trees, whole live myrrh trees, as well as the incense itself that had already been dried, which is from the leaves of the tree, which itself is called kaifi. The trees were planted at both Deir el-Bahari, her mortuary temple, as well as in the temple complex at Thebes as well. So the main purpose was really a religious purpose to bring back incense for Amun. We also have secondary purpose, which is to bring back exotic goods to increase Egypt's wealth and to satisfy the needs of what is already quite a wealthy place. So to that end, ivory skins, live animals, ebony, ivory, precious metals were all brought back, and we can see a couple of those in the image here. We can see some live panthers being brought back and some leopard skins down there on the right hand side, as well as numerous other goods which are a little bit harder to identify from the image. We've also got some religious significance in some of the things brought back. For example, we have baboons, live baboons brought back, and they featured quite prominently. Here's one here, and they were the symbol of Thoth, as well as panther skins. This is the panthers themselves, but panther skins were brought back as gifts for the Amun priesthood as robes. So obviously this had a particularly religious focus, the expedition to Punt. An oracle of Amun was what initiated the expedition. Amun wanted this to happen, so it was fulfilling Amun's will by making it happen. The incense was for Amun. We also have, as just mentioned before, baboons were brought back as symbols of Thoth, and panther skins were brought back as gifts for the Amun priesthood. And we have an image here, and I'll just remove myself very quickly from the image. We can see on the right hand side, this is actually Hatshepsut offering the expedition to Amun, offering all the goods brought back to the god Amun. It's been erased because that term damnatio memorare, Hatshepsut, her whole reign was attempted to be wiped out from memory, but this is Hatshepsut offering the expedition to Amun. It also had some pretty significant economic benefits. She had a solid economy already, so exotic goods were demanded by her people, so she was fulfilling that role. Things like cinnamon, ivory, gold, all of those sorts of things, aromatic woods. And this in turn stimulated the economy too, because it meant more people were spending money. It had political significance too, because it meant that Hatshepsut was providing for her people. She was maintaining art, It expanded Egypt's influence, as I mentioned before. They hadn't traded down this far south since the Middle Kingdom, so it reopened old trading routes, which are important for Egypt's prosperity. And all in all, it was the expectation of a new kingdom king to undertake these kinds of expeditions. So there's a bit of an overview of the expedition to Punt.